Hello everyone. On behalf of the AIA Hong Kong chapter, here I have prepared a short video to guide you through the registration procedure with Hong Kong IA for non-local architectural professional. All information you need are available on Hong Kong IA's website, hkia.net. You click here, Join Hong Kong IA. To continue your practice and hold on your title as an architect in Hong Kong, you need to be enlisted on the Architects Registration Board according to the Architects Registration Ordinance. So getting your license is important. Otherwise, technically, it is against the law to even call yourself an architect. Here you see, you can either take the professional assessment, which involves 8 papers, plus a professional interview. Or if you are already licensed abroad, take the path of the non-local architectural professional, which you still need to pass the professional interview, and depending on your case, a bit less papers to take. I assume you would prefer the non-local way, which is a bit more straightforward. Click here, and you have a list of all the National Registration Body of Architects recognized by the Hong Kong IA. I here assume you are already registered under NCARP. On top of your NCARP membership, you need to have either Group A, overall post-professional registration practical experience of not less than 15 years, or Group B, recognized post-professional registration local practical experience of not less than 5 years. If you are Group A, you simply submit a case study report and pass the professional interview. For Group B, you still need to take 2 papers, plus the case report and the professional interview. I here assume you're taking Group B. You go to NLAP registration. The case report is almost like your CV. Here in Annex A is a simple template for your easy reference. Now let's go back to the page before. You may notice that local professional experience includes not just regular works in an architectural practice, but also teaching experience of not less than 5 years. You click on HKIA membership application form. You should fill in the entire form here, which is a thorough record of your academic and professional career. You shall provide Hong Kong IA with essential supporting documents, from your graduation diploma to your NCARP certificate and your certificate of registered architect in your state. You should also notice that here at page 4 of the application form, you need to secure a nomination of 3 FHKIA members. This is going to be tricky and should take you some time. Also, at the end of the form is a sample authorization letter. You need to submit your application with authorization letters to request your universities and professional bodies for release of personal information. Go back to the previous page. Here comes the payment. The standard fee is $39,000 for registration of paper 1 and 2, relevant seminars and lectures, and a professional interview. If you fail any of these papers, you shall pay for your second attempt separately. If you are smart enough to apply for associate member at least 1 year ahead, you can enjoy a $9,000 discount. So this is it. To sum up, you need to submit 5 things to the Hong Kong IA before you take the exam via the path of NLAP Group 2. Your case report, completed forms with relevant certificates or diploma, relevant authorization letters, and your payment slip. Hong Kong IA closes the application at the end of every year. Paper 1 and 2 takes place in November next year, and if you pass both papers, the interview will be held in September the year after. So this is a very lengthy 2-year project. Make sure your documentations are all good so as to avoid delay. So let's talk a bit on paper 1 and 2 here. You can open this HKIA ARB Professional Assessment Handbook from PA Assessment Components. Let's go down to Appendix D. Paper 1 and 2 are on statutory control and building contract and conduct respectively. Paper 1 is, generally speaking, a 3-hour examination on the local building code. There are 40 MCs and 3 essay-type questions, which you can choose out of 4 questions. There is a reading list which I totally recommend you all go through. For examination purpose, some are more important than the other, such as Building Ordinance Chapter 123, Building Administration Regulations Chapter 123A, Building Planning Regulations Chapter 123F, Town Planning Ordinance Chapter 131, and APP 151 and 152. All these materials can be downloaded from the internet for free. You will realize that the one I mentioned are the more important building codes that is applicable to all projects. For example, you should be able to quickly draw up a development schedule according to building planning regulations regarding site coverage, plot ratios, open space for residential development, etc. very quickly. You should also be able to understand the sustainable building design guidelines and quickly draw up a layout with building separation, building setback, and site coverage of greenery all considered. You are actually allowed to bring your own building code book to the examination. You may refer to Appendix I and J for more information, although I would suggest you not to rely on it, because time flies when you sit in the examination. Bear in mind that time management during the examination is as important as your knowledge for passing the professional examination. I would suggest you do your essay first and then spare at least 1.5 hours for the MCs. Paper 2 is a 4-hour examination on contract issues. There are 80 MCs and 3 essay-type questions, which you can choose out of 4 questions. There is a reading list which I again recommend you all go through, and again for examination purpose, some are more important than the other, such as Standard Form of Building Contract, Standard Form of Agreement between Client and Architect, and Codes of Professional Conduct of the Hong Kong IA and ARB. Whether the standard contract is with quantity or without quantity, for main contract or NSC, or nominated supplier does not really matter because the principle behind are the same. You are recommended to just study on, say, the standard form with quantity. Furthermore, you are also suggested to take a look at the Prevention of Bribery Ordinance, Chapter 201. It is strangely not mentioned here, but are usually brought up in the examination. You can buy the Standard Form of Building Contracts from the Hong Kong IS, the Standard Form of Agreement between Client and Architect from the Hong Kong IA, whereas the Codes of Professional Conduct of the Hong Kong IA and ARB can be downloaded online for free. In this paper, you're expected to be familiar with different types of contract administration procedure, and contractual relationship with both the client and the contractor. Your thorough understanding of the professional conduct is also extremely important. Out of the 4 essay questions, at least one will be about professional conduct. And relatively speaking, this one is usually the easier one among all 4 questions. Again, you are allowed to bring in your own materials to the examination as long as they are clean and have no marks on it. Although for paper 2 you have 1 more hour than paper 1. There are actually twice as many MCs, so the time for this paper is even tighter than paper 1. Make sure you spend your time wisely. Since you opted for NLAP Group 2, you can bypass all the rest of the papers and go directly to your interview. You'll face 3 interviewers appointed by the Hong Kong IA in a small room. Questions can be anything from about your job experience to professional conduct to knowledge on building regulations or construction industry in general. It is unpredictable and can be really difficult. But as long as you stay humble, confident, and sincere, There should be no problem convincing the interviewers that you can be a competent architect. Being cocky, nervous, or just generally incompetent is a big no-no. The interview can be the hardest one, or the easiest one, depending on your attitude. So after all this effort, money, and the time you spent, you will finally have your Hong Kong IA membership. You will be presented with your ARB certificate in one of the quarterly general meeting. Don't forget to pick up your Hong Kong IA certificate also, which will come a bit later. This is a lengthy process, but it's all worthwhile. I hope this video helps, and I wish you all a successful career as an architect. Peace.